Get ready with me while we talk about how to deal with the emotional roller coaster after leaving a narcissist. Part 2. Okay, so again, in part 1, we talked about all of the things that go on in the brain while you're in the relationship. If you've not watched that, go back and watch it. So unfortunately, after narcissistic abuse, I really don't believe that time heals all wounds. And it's not to be discouraging, it just means that creating neural pathways and all of this kind of stuff we're talking about, this doesn't just happen because of time alone. It requires work. Problem is that most of us just don't know how to do it. So one of the things that our brain was actually really craving while we were in these relationships was consistency. We all pretty much understand that in order for kids to have a solid development is they need that stability, they need security, they need consistency. That's why we have things like nighttime routines with them and their morning routine. It's also why Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood was one of the most successful children's show in history. Because if you think about it, he did the same routine every start and every finish of the show. So if you think about it, just because we become an adult doesn't mean that all just goes away. So one of the first crucial steps to getting regulated again after leaving a narcissistic person is to start to develop new healthy habits and routines. What this does is it's going to give your brain the consistency that it's been craving for however long you were in. If y'all been following me for any length of time, you know how much I talk about doing things that you enjoy, meaningful activities, and reincorporating those back into your life. This is why. Find ways to change up your day-to-day in a healthy way that incorporates things that bring you joy. And push past the resistancy that you're going to have, which is, I just don't feel like it. One of the biggest mistakes that I see my clients make is that they wait until they feel like making the changes before they make the change. When in reality, if you just start doing what's good for you and what's right, the feelings will follow, I promise. And when it comes to just dealing with the emotions in general, the biggest piece of advice that I can give you is don't ignore the emotions. Some of the comments that I see all the time are, I don't want to be grieving someone that was so terrible for me, or why am I sad? He was such a POS. Some variation where we try to almost dismiss our emotions because they were so terrible. We shouldn't be having these emotions. You do have to remember that this is still, at the end of the day, relationship ending. There's just natural emotions that are associated to the loss of a relationship. One of the biggest keys for me in processing and dealing with my emotions was journaling. There is no right or wrong way to journal, because I have people ask me that all the time. Well, I don't even know how to do it. Just sit down and write. Write what's on your mind. I visualized it as like a brain dump. I just needed to dump all of what was in my head out onto a piece of paper, and it helped tremendously. For the most part, I legit journaled every day. Sometimes I journaled multiple times a day. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I still deal with this sometimes, so I'm just gonna share this moment with you. When I left my narcissistic ex, I had massive fallout of my hair, and that's a very common side effect of PTSD. And then I had COVID twice, and hair loss was associated with that. So my hair's never really fully gotten to as thick as it was before all of that. And every once in a while, it just pops in my head, and I'm just like, screw him. But you know what? If losing some of my hair was the price I had to pay to get him out of my life, then I'll take the thinner hair. Okay, so back on topic. Another strategy that I would use, and I would do this especially if I was at home and the emotions were just absolutely intense, because that happens, is I would set a timer and I would give myself permission to sit in whatever feeling I was feeling for 20 minutes. And then I would get up and I would do something productive after that time was done. When you actually give yourself permission to feel the emotions and stop saying, I shouldn't feel this way, it actually does lower the intensity of the emotion itself. But you just need to remember that everything that you're going through is a completely natural process of dealing with a traumatic relationship. It doesn't make you weak, you're not crazy, there's nothing wrong with you. This is just, unfortunately, one of those things that we get to deal with as survivors of narcissistic abuse.